Okay, good. We are live. I'm just gonna post this one here. Um, God damn it. Yeah, I think that's the right link, hopefully. Um, okay, good. We're live. Thank you guys for joining. We are not joined by the number one ranked as we've been the previous streams, but today I'm joined by two FPL heavyweights. FPL Bronx and FPL Spaceman. Especially thank you to you, Johnny, for joining. You've been in our chat for all our streams actually. Um, so I don't know who's
I
gonna,
think so,
you know,
yeah.
I don't
Even
know.
I even joined briefly for the one that was all in Danish and didn't know what was
Yeah,
going on. Just to see. I was like, oh well, I'll have them on and see what they're talking about. But my Danish is not up to scratch, sadly. But
that's
yes,
commitment.
thank you for having me on. Big shoes to fill. I'm 22,656 places behind Eric, but probably won't catch him. But yes, he's got to keep his free hit secret. He needs to win. He's in a good
He
spot though,
would,
so best of luck to him if he's here.
yeah, he would actually have loved to join, but unfortunately he couldn't. And the same with Simon, who's also usually here. Um, Okay, Thomas, do you want to would you do a quick introduction or
Yeah, I just first of all, a pleasure not to be the lowest ranked one in the stream for once. But that being said, I'm very pleased that we have a spaceman here. He was a huge inspiration for me starting in the into the analytical part of FPL. I remember the first time I heard him talk was with the Sertop after his rank one. So Spaceman has been rank one once, but in massive data ranks on FPL review, which was pretty cool. And I clearly remember I thought this guy had some creativity about the way he approached FPL, and followed him ever since, and been inspired all the way through, and still am. So pleasure to have you, Johnny.
Oh, heartwarming words. Thanks for nice to hear that. It's funny. I remember when I first joined and I was talking about Sertalt was a big inspiration when I first sort of got involved, and suddenly being able to like talk to those guys and set up the company with them now as well, and being like, oh, these were the guys that got me into analytics, and sort of forgetting that you know that sort of follows on and people start looking at the new guys joining. And yeah, it's been nice to chat to Bronx as well. I've followed a lot of his stuff as well, and obviously you, Yeppe, with your new physio stuff as well. It's good fun to see what people are talking about, and yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed these streams, so it's nice to be involved, nice to join, and yeah, very excited.
yeah, and so we thank you for joining. I think I think we should just take a few questions as they come along, right? If any in the chat. And then I think we should just kind of jump right into it because Johnny, I want to ask you about. I was just spending the last 20 or 30 minutes before the stream checking the Solio team out and kind of the whole project, and it seems like there are quite a few people involved. Like, is there four co-founders, and then Praz is also part of it. So how it's a proper company based in
Yeah.
Norway, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're like a community-driven, self-funded startup. So it started initially early 2024, I think, was Sertalp, myself, Jorgen, and James, or FF Trout, as some people know him. Sertalp kind of came up to us with this idea. He'd built a lot of tools. He'd done a lot of work with James before, done a lot of work with myself, wanted to build out a proper, fully fledged analytics tool to bring analytics to more people. Because there still is a bit of a divide, but there's been this big divide of analytics versus the opposite, and actually for most people that isn't the case. You can bring both. You can sort of look at the data, and we wanted to make it more accessible to people. So we bring in Rob T recently as well, and Chris Musson and Praz and Geir Magna, who works with the finance stuff, but a lot of people will know Praz and Rob, both quite visible guys in the community. So Rob helps us a lot with our like the market blended data. So we blend the market data with some historical data to kind of get out points projections that are sort of tied into the live markets, especially for the current week. So the team strengths will move as the markets move, and the player level stuff is got elements of that, but updates a little bit more slowly as we see, data trends emerging as a player moves position, and we see that the DEFCONs are changing, that kind of thing. And we wanted to make it really customizable. So for people who actually have, a strong opinion, some people don't like the projection models because they say that it's telling them what to do, or it's a black box and they don't know, it's just, here's a number. Do I trust that number or why? But actually, if you think, no, I have a belief that Arsenal are stronger than this model is, you should be able to make that to your advantage. So it's a good tool with all the baselines as it is, but with your own knowledge and your own beliefs, it's a real asset to go, okay, I now have a framework to build my own beliefs into it, to say, if I think Arsenal are this good and Everton are this good and so on, then what does that mean? And helps you answer those questions of, okay, there's a new player in the league. How good is Wirtz likely to be for Liverpool? What sort of range of outcomes might he be looking at? If I think he's on the lower end of that, what does that mean for my team? If I think he's on the higher end, maybe if I think my beliefs are going to change. One of the things I did at the start of the season was I kind of tested. Wirtz was very popular, but had a wide range of how good he could be. And he has come back and proven that he's a good player, but at the start he was not playing so well. So I realized that I could build a team without him. And if after a few weeks he's clicked, he's firing, he's off, then it was easy for me to hop on. But it looked harder to go the other way of like, I've started with him, he's gone flat. Like, what do I do with my team there? So you can test those hypotheses out with the planning tool, with this, I'm going to use the technical term stochastic optimization, but really it's just scenario planning of like, what if this, what if that? How am I prepared for anything that can happen? So it's grown and grown over the last 2 years, and launched the tool for this season, and we're very happy with the way it's gone, and got lots of new ideas for the next season as well. It's sort of a funny time of the year where the season's winding up and there's, what's happening with our teams in the end of season, but we're also looking ahead to next season already of like, we've got this idea, but there's no point rushing it to get it out for 1 week now. We should aim for next season, for the summer. So very exciting project to be a part of, and great company to work with, great group of guys. They're so fun to chat football with just all the time. And it's been a real privilege.
I could imagine.
You've done a great job too.
Thank you. Yes, it's nice to see the positive comments as well. Obviously, some startups just fall flat and they don't work out. So I'm sure we're not off the ground yet, but it's nice to see it going well.
And do you all?
It's funny you mentioned birds. Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, it's fine. I was just do you all work part-time on Solio, or are any of you full-time?
No one's full-time yet. No, everyone's got a sort of a full-time job outside it. So obviously the aim is to eventually get it to people being able to work full-time, but mostly we're committing our hours to the company rather than financial stuff. But so no one's like full-time on it yet. But we'll get ahead of ourselves, but hopefully we'll work towards that. And I'm almost full-time across like fantasy football stuff. This season, I kind of took, on personal level, I left my old job last summer to focus partly on this, but partly on trying to, part-time sort of gambling, DFS, fantasy player stuff. I've made enough money so far to give that a go. So play a lot of different formats. So it's kind of, sometimes it's research that's personal, but also for Solio, and it kind of comes together. But it's good fun. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of good fun. Thomas, you were saying something with Wirtz?
I was just thinking it was funny you mentioned Wirtz, because I think he could be a subject of today. But let's see.
Yeah. All comes full circle.
All comes full circle.
I was one of those
was
managers who didn't go with Wirtz because I have this. It might be a stupid rule, but I have this that any new transferred in player from another league who comes into the Premier League, almost no matter how good they've been, I'm always very hesitant to put them in my team because it's like it often takes the player a lot of time to adjust to Premier League, to the intensity, to the physical level. But I must admit that I also did it with Haaland, and that went terribly wrong when he came to the Premier League. So you shouldn't always do
win some,
that,
lose
but
some.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a reasonable rule of thumb. I think certainly exercising some caution, or at least being aware that if I start without him, they might start hot. How do I get to him? Or if I start with him, then he might start cold. How do I get off him? I know there was a few people the season that Haaland joined in our analytics server who started because City defense was so good at that point. It had like Cancelo and even Ruben Dias was a pretty strong asset. And some people ended up on a triple City defense. So then, like, how do you get to Haaland?
Yeah.
Haaland bangs in the first week. And
Ouch.
you're like, oh, I've got Harry Kane. He's doing very well, but you're a little bit stuck. So I think, yeah, trying to build those flexible teams is important. But yeah, I think if there are options to avoid someone like Wirtz at the start, then yeah, that's a good way to go. As long as you've got a plan how to get to him. But yeah, I think we say that every year, and then there's a shiny new toy who maybe he'll be different. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're talking Game Week 1. We're in the end of the season. Game Week 34, please.
Yes, Game Week 34. I don't know, just a quick recap on my end in Game Week 33. I did bench boost with 14 doublers. Bruno was the only one not doubling. I made the choice of trying to chase that small chance of still be able to win the whole game, and went Palmer for my captaincy, and that went terribly wrong. To be honest, I was actually kind of not happy, but when Haaland scored after 5 minutes, I was almost pissing myself because I could just see him back another hat trick, and so I was. I think it was some damage were done, but I had expected it to be a lot worse. So 106 points. Yeah, but not the best decision on my end. Thomas, should I just pull your team up just for a quick? I can pull your team up here.
Sure. Yeah,
How
I
did you
made a
do?
few
You did brilliantly.
interesting moves. No, I don't think I did brilliantly, but it was
No, but you did good.
okay. So I contrary to the popular template, I stuck with Thiago rather than Bruno, and well, having Enzo in my team apparently wasn't as good as I hoped for, even though the first game at least he had a great chance to actually score, and Bruno not being very involved, but that's how it goes sometimes. At least my expected points model approves of that part of the decision, but not with my decision to go against O'Reilly, which didn't go extremely well. Hopefully, he can win some of that back over the coming game weeks. And then obviously Calvert-Lewin both started both games, which I talked about last time. I didn't expect to happen, but still didn't play well all of the minutes. He was subbed right after the penalty in the first game, right, and then second game at least almost all game or every single minute. And that obviously means that Thiago wasn't a good pick in this case. But well, that's how it goes. I think that was the main deciders. I was lucky with the Hill own goal yesterday. That
Pick the
that
right
was good
Bournemouth
for the Scott
defender,
owners. So I would say it went really well up until like 75 minutes into the first part of the round, where Scott was pretty like going to get all 3 bonus points and looked really good, and then Calvert-Lewin got a pin right before he was subbed off, and that like flipped that chart completely. But well, that's the emotions you have to go through as an FPL manager.
That's why we play it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
But all in all, like decent bench boost. Karioko got his goal as well. So it's not like I'm super unhappy, but those managers that I want to like compete against did a little bit better. So not the best game week.
There was a few scores in the 130 odds, I think. But not everyone did. I saw some bench boosts near 120, and obviously some people weren't on this strategy, played a free hit, scored 100, or some people got quite unlucky. They played a free hit and got like 80 or 90 points. So avoiding disaster is sometimes just as good as aiming for something super good. But yeah, pretty strong, in a good spot. And even Calvert-Lewin was 8 points instead of Thiago's 2. It's not
yeah, and last week on stream I talked about the nugget about Rodon in the press conference was what made me not go James Justin, which was a little bit sad too.
Never mind.
But it could have just as well been James Justin subbed like Bogle was yesterday at halftime.
Exactly, yeah.
Could have went the other way as well. So I think right decision, but that's how it goes.
I think I also recall that when we talked about potential differential picks, we mentioned Trafford, we mentioned Gibbs White, and we mentioned in attack, I think Evan Nilsson or Krupi. So we should maybe start to listen to our own advice because, yeah. Johnny, do you want to share your screen and then we can go?
I can do, yes. Show my team.
But you're on a different strategy, Johnny.
This is my team. I am. I wildcarded this week in some sort of, I don't know, why not?
Let me just.
Hang on.
I just need to unlock here. How do I do? Oh, was it up before? No. Is it? No.
I pressed sharing. Okay.
Yeah, I just need to.
Do on this. Okay. So I got 94 points. So didn't even get 100. Terrible, awful. But yes, I sort of cornered myself into. I don't have my free hit, so I can't wildcard in 32 to load up on all the doublers in 33 to then free hit them out again. Because I played the free hit in game week 23, I think it was a while ago. So my hope was that the FA Cup results went a bit differently. Because if Man City had lost, their City-Burnley game would be this weekend, not midweek. So then I could have wildcarded in 34, bought all my City players then, because they wouldn't have had the double. They'd have had Arsenal. And Liverpool would have had the double. So I had Liverpool players. I had Szoboszlai, I had Virgil from way before. I'd have played into a bench boost in 33 with Liverpool, with maybe even West Ham and Everton and those guys. If Arsenal had won, Arsenal, Newcastle would have had some of those. Chelsea, Brighton, I don't think mattered too much. And then wildcard in 34 into City and have them for their double in 36. But I think every FA Cup game went the way that I didn't want it to go. All 4 of them. So this was sort of worst case scenario, which I knew could happen. It wasn't like, I hadn't seen this coming, but it was like worst case. So what I had to do is, because going into this week, I only had 2 doublers. So I had Dubravka and Calvert-Lewin. And even with 5 transfers, I could get to 7 or 8 with a hit. And then I'd be bench boosting like only single game week players and Gabriel and all that. So like players that some people bench boosted, which is fine, but my whole bench would have been the guys that people stuck one on the bench boost and didn't really want to. I'd have bench boosted like Raya, Gabriel, all of that. So I was like, actually, if I save my 5 transfers, wildcard, I've now got 5 transfers next week. So I picked not quite as many doublers as everyone else. So I've got Bruno and Anderson in here. So I got to 9 doublers, which means I have 6 non-doublers who play next week. Plus 5 transfers gets me to 11. Just. So I use all 5 next week, get 11, bench boost in 35, and then I can play the rest of the season kind of fairly normally. But this 33-34 has been a mess. So to get 94 and to kind of match the free hit guys and not score too much below the people who... Some people played wildcard this week with the free hit next week with the bench boost out. So like the strategy I'm doing, but they could get way more doublers this week because they don't have to, they can free hit. So I roughly matched them and dropped from, I think 10k to 22k is kind of the drop I was expecting. It wasn't actually too bad. So I'm going to be a little bit behind next week again because my team's going to be a little bit worse. But after that, I'll have a bench boost and triple captain, and some people will be done. So it is a case of like trusting the process and being like, my strategy is over these 5 weeks, and it just means that the first 2 weeks are pretty rubbish. And I just have to hope that I fall not so far that I can't come back up again. But yeah, went fairly well. I did go O'Reilly in the end. That was a bit of a gamble on, him being back in training and thinking that he probably was good to start one of the games and risk it slightly over a Geiki. I think also I went O'Reilly, Semenyo, Haaland as my 3 City, which was partly because it means that I can bench them this week and then have them back. So I tried to get my best guess at the 3 that I was most likely to want in 36, because I'll need to keep them and transfer some guys out. But I think I might want to leave the option of Cherky open now. So I'm probably going to sell Semenyo and buy Cherky back and hold someone else. But it left me quite flexible. So I did, Palmer only got 1 game, but he's out now. Bruno scored. Calvert-Lewin got the 2 games. Haaland captain, managed to keep the guys on the bench. All 6 players are not injured so far, touch wood. That was going to force a hit if one of those 6 guys was out. But yeah, so the team has survived, basically. That was most of it. It's all right, yeah, not too bad. But
you must have been pretty happy with the Shaw Pedro news. That saved you a bit more to drop.
Yeah, certainly for FPL. It was, because I was looking at it. I almost went for João Pedro over Calvert-Lewin. I was like, I do kind of want him in. I do think Chelsea are going to be all right. And yeah, once he was out for both games, it was, okay, good. I'm glad I went for Calvert-Lewin instead. But yeah, I think it did mess me up in a few of the other formats. So that's the joy of playing several games at once, is every bit of news is kind of dampened across all the entries, and I don't actually know what I want from the games anymore. I just see what happens.
Yeah,
which is fun in some ways.
Especially in this game week. I mean, there were quite a few people who had Gibbs White as their first bench, which is so freaking crazy.
Fun.
And Pascal Gross.
And Pascal Gross.
Gross.
Yeah, that's
what a
gross.
guy.
What a legend, yeah. John, I do want to continue because I think you're in I don't know if I would be stressed out, but it seems to be kind of tricky because you have 2 Bournemouth players. Yeah, 2 Bournemouth players. You have 2 Leeds players, and Bournemouth, is it certain actually that they're gonna double, or is it only possible?
No, it's not. It's possible. It's probably actually just unlikely. It's possible.
Okay.
It can happen. But I'd say I do need to bear it in mind, because the guys who played wildcard 33, free hit 34, bench boost 35, they can just free hit them all out and then have them in 35. And we'll know by 35. But I have to sell some of them now. Can I switch tabs? So I've got the Solio one open. Is that easier?
I think I think you can, yeah.
I'll stop sharing 1 sec. Sorry.
Yeah, to do that. I'll just assign it to.
Is this just gonna hop over?
Yeah.
Oh, that worked. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my team with 6 players. So O'Reilly doesn't play, Semenyo doesn't play, Palmer doesn't play, Calvert-Lewin doesn't play, Haaland, Tav, Hill, Darlow. So keeper's fine. I've got Raya. So basically, rather than thinking like, what 5 do I need to sell? It's almost like what 3 do I want to keep of those 8? So Haaland I want to keep, put him on the bench. O'Reilly I want to keep, put him on the bench because he's good. He's like the defender that I'll want. So the plan was Semenyo, and then just sell Leeds, Bournemouth, and Palmer. But I think I can sell Semenyo this week and keep Hill, and Hill might have that double. But even if he doesn't, he plays Palace at home in 35, which would be my bench boost. So he looks still pretty good for that week. And then if he has the double, that's great. And if he doesn't, then so be it. So rather than keeping Tavernier, so Palmer's going to go, remove him. Stroke, sadly, and Calvert-Lewin probably have to go. They were ones I could keep because they got Burnley in 35. So I don't want to sell them before that, but never mind. Burnley in 35 isn't better than a fixture in 34 and someone else in 35. And then I think Tav just makes sense. So if I sell Semenyo, I can actually buy Semenyo back. So if I sell someone like short term, I sell him for like a Verts this week, like a free hit pick basically. And then either in 35 or 36, I buy Semenyo or Cherky back. So selling Semenyo now lets me choose. Whereas if I keep Semenyo, I have to hold him. Like I'm not going to do Semenyo to Cherky in 36. That would be, well, unless he gets injured. So then I've got my 6, I've got my bench guys, and I've got 5 spots. So then I just pick them a bit like the free hit. The only thing that is a bit complicated is that Palace are probably going to double, or definitely going to double at some point. So I put Richards in initially, who's got Liverpool this week, which is not ideal. It's not a very good fixture, but they are quite Defcon heavy. So like, it's not like I'm playing a Burnley defender away to Man City or anything. I'm not like, oh, that's just terrible. So I might get another one. I might get double Palace defense, which is not really what I want to do this week. And I would not advise any free hitters to do that. But it also is quite a nice way to go, okay, like I've made the team a bit worse this week, but it saves me transfers later because I'm going to run out of transfers. Because then I'll have them for the double. I'll have them on the bench boost, which is kind of okay. But also Liverpool attacks going to be quite popular on the free hit. So Salah and Gakpo and Wirtz maybe. So it's a really obvious, like, if the game goes the other way, if Palace get a clean sheet, then not only have I got the extra points that I was probably not expecting of Palace clean sheet, but also the free hitters have not got attacking returns from there. So it's more likely that Liverpool score. Like, that's the more likely outcome. But it's not like a stupid bet. I'm not betting on Burnley to beat City, which I think would just be like, well, what's the point in that? So it's a bad bet, but one I've kind of been cornered into making. So I think that's fine. I think that's not ideal, but so then these guys are just whoever I want, basically. So this could be like Solanke. This could be.
Can I comment on the Palace?
Rice. Yes.
Johnny?
Yeah.
Just a little fact for everyone out there. Palace is, like, for the past 10 game weeks, they're the best defense in the league for non-pen XG conceded, like by far.
Well, that's good to
They
know.
are Arsenal
Hopefully.
levels, like 0.76 on average last 10 game weeks.
Oh, well, that's good.
Crazy.
That's the same as the season-long Arsenal numbers. I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, it's still only 10 game weeks, but it's just like, it's not as bad. It could make you a little bit more.
If I could not do it, I would not do it. But the fact that I have to do it is like, so there's an element of like copium of like, oh, maybe it's okay. But yeah, it's like, it is. Liverpool attack's not been firing on all cylinders. Isak's not fully fit. Ekitike's out. Like, there's enough there to go, okay, maybe I can feel a bit better about this. And they are playing all their defenders. Like, obviously, we've seen Sarr miss out games. Wharton missed a game, but he was injured. Mateta's been playing they've been playing the European games, not the Premier League games. But even Lacroix coming back from a little injury still played at the weekend. So I think Lacroix and Richards and Munoz, even though they're going to have that game in between the two European semis, which would be my bench boost week as well, then I'm not as worried about them. But I do think that I'm not going to want Sarr in 36, whereas I might have wanted to leave that open of like, maybe I get Munoz, maybe I keep two, maybe Mateta's there and Strand Larsen's injured. So I think if I did commit to triple Palace defense, sounds a bit silly, then that's not the end of the world. Because I could, even before, like if I kept Semenyo, I could do Hill to Munoz, and play triple Palace.
Is there a reason why you're not? So you're going with Lacroix and Richards for now, and you're excluding Munoz, and that is that mainly because of the DEFCON potential for Lacroix and Richards, or?
Yes, I think for this week specifically, then the centre backs are better.
Yeah.
But there's not much in it. I think there's also an element of like Lacroix. I don't know how much cheaper he is, like $500,000 cheaper. So
something like that.
I'm not actually short on money to afford Munoz, but if I get Richards and Lacroix, I then get to next week and do need that $500,000, I'd feel annoyed if I'd gone for Munoz for not really any good reason the week before. So I think the DEFCONs are enough to go Lacroix, but Munoz is. I could also do that. I think I would have gone to Munoz if Lacroix had like missed this week, or still looked like a bit of a doubt, or that kind of thing. It's not like I don't want Munoz. He's good and should play a lot. He was injured earlier, but then plays lots and lots of minutes. So we'll see. But then the other picks I haven't really decided. I think Rice will be in, and probably going to go Solanke. But I think we're getting into like assessing the free hit picks basically now. So I need to remember that I need to keep them. I can't just go for a guy who's going to play this. I can't go for a Freddie Woodman who's going to play this week and probably not after. No. But other than that, I can mostly just pick from the picks we're looking at. So I might avoid Liverpool attack. I might try and get like Rice and Ndiaye and these guys. Since I'm going for Liverpool defence, if I think Wilson and Ndiaye and whoever are close, then I can dodge Wirtz and whoever. But if I pick Wirtz to cover him, then that's not too bad, because again, it's it's DEFCONs, and I get to cover the Liverpool attack because I'm trying to play a bit defensive for now rather than like my chips are coming later. But we'll see. I don't know. That's the rough. That's where I've got to so far. Is I think he'll come out and Hill will be back in, and that'll be the bench.
Speaking of Ndiaye, I think he's a bit overhyped on the free hit drafts. I think he's not a player that I'm gonna include in my team. Also because I think there's some really interesting, like if you look at West Ham, like if we're just moving into kind of the free hit players now, I think West Ham. I was looking into them, and West Ham since the beginning of this year, their expected goals conceded at home is almost Arsenal levels, if I recall correctly. Please, Bronx or Johnny, correct me if
Lots
I'm
of good
wrong
defenders,
here.
Not quite, but they're okay.
Okay. But
they're not Crystal Palace. I'm afraid, yeah. But...
Oh well, close, yeah. They also had a game against City at home that, like, also that it's a few fixtures, right? But
I mean, West Ham have been a lot stronger recently than they were at the start of the season. Like they've got this, they've settled on a back, defensive shape now. They've dropped Todibo and Kilman, who were not playing well before, and they've got Mavropanos and Disasi, and I think they've swapped to Walker Peters over Wan-Bissaka the last couple of games, but fairly similar. But yeah, the team's like stronger. Mateus Fernandes moving into midfield rather than out on the wing, and yeah, I don't think they're a defense you go, oh, there's going to be loads of goals here. But it depends. Defcon's, he's not a bad pick. I don't think he's amazing, and you like, you mustn't exclude him. But yeah, I can totally see not fancying NDI and going elsewhere, especially if you want a West Ham defender. Right, Mavropanos is good.
I just think that if you look just expected goals conceded West Ham, if you take it from game week, just if you look at home, because they're playing at home, I know it's you can always that's probably not the right way to look at it, and please correct me if it's not. But their
no, it's actually true.
Yeah, their home record against, if we take it from game week 23, home against Sunderland, 0.67 expected goals conceded. Then we got home against United, 0.57. Home against Bournemouth, 0.65. Home against City, 0.03, pretty high. Home against Wolves, 0.59. So they have become a really, really strong team at home, and the expected goals conceded, they have conceded quite a lot, was against Chelsea away and City at home and Liverpool away. So the big teams and the great team. But now they're playing home against Everton, and they're really turned things around. So that's kind of my thesis against India and for maybe stacking up on West Ham. I've done so in my current free hit draft, but I will get to that.
Do we want your draft up now? I can give you the screen.
We can do that. Let me just hear.
While he puts that up, I can ask Johnny. You do the minutes on Solio, right?
Lots of them. Yeah. Are you gonna give me credit or blame me before I answer?
No. I think I think you're doing a great job. I was just curious. Now that you have to pick Crystal Palace defenders, so there is this guy Canvo too, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
I think so. That's how I'd say it.
The Crystal Palace boys, they are known to be DEFCON beasts, but this guy, his numbers, they're ridiculous. He doesn't have as many games, but how do you see the minutes in that central defense going forward now that Gahey's not there? Like, should we just expect it to be Lacroix, Richardson, Canvo every single game? Because I mean, we thought Lacroix was good for this, but Canvo averages 2 more DEFCONs per 90.
That's quite a bit. Yeah. I think the likeliest outcome is that he plays all the games. If you had to bet on a single, what happens? He is probably the first choice. They took a little while to kind of settle on it, and I think they had a couple of injuries. So Munoz missed a few games, so that changed whether they wanted who at right centre. But Klein played a game at right centre back because it was Devaney in front of him rather than Munoz. And then Chadi Riyad came in for a couple of games, and Canvo was in for a bit. They played Lerma as a centre back for a little while when they had more of the defenders. So he has chopped and changed before he's I'd say he's kind of settled on Canvo now. This is just from, I think fans who look at the team and what the manager's saying might know a bit more than me, but just looking at the patterns of the minutes that we look at. There was a bit where we sometimes use the word flapping in that he's flapping about, he's not sure which is his best defender. And it happens a lot in the teams that are way lower down. Burnley is Scott Parker's just I don't know what lineup he's going to try and put out. So there was a little while where I think Glasner was I don't really have a best third centre back. But Canvo has, he was 5-6 in a row. So he does not always play the European games, I think. So Chadi Riyad's still there, but maybe isn't fully fit. They can still play Lerma there. I don't think they've done anything with like. There was talk about them putting Mitchell as a left centre back and bringing Sosa in, but he doesn't seem to trust Sosa either. So Palace was a really good one at the start of the season because they just had an 11 and they just played it every week, and it was like, oh well, that's easy. They just didn't change at all. So once Gahey left, it was I think Canvo is the standout if you had to pick who was going to be that other centre back. But I think there's just enough uncertainty on it rather than doubt. I don't doubt that he starts, if that makes sense, but you just know, like, there's so much evidence that Lacroix and Richards are going to keep starting.
And you have to pick your 36 players now.
Yeah. So it's not for this week, just. So I think the risk that Canvo misses a game for Lerma is small, but high enough that I might as well just get Lacroix or Munoz. But if someone else is in that spot and is a big Canvo, Canvo's good. We might get to 36 and people want to be looking at Canvo that week. But because I've got to go early, I think it's not worth the risk for my team. But Canvo's good. I'd probably prefer him over Mitchell. I think Mitchell's a really good player, but his attacking upside isn't enough to be like a good FPL pick over the. I don't even want to say risky because he's not. Like, Canvo is the best centre back, but I hadn't realised his DEFCON numbers were quite so high, but good pick. Especially if you're short of money, it's a bit cheaper.
That too.
But that's why I picked Richards last week. I think I prefer Lacroix over Richards, but Lacroix had the doubt, so I was like, well, I'll get Richards, even though he's on the bench. And then if Lacroix is fine, I can buy Lacroix. If Lacroix is not fine, maybe Canvo comes in. But Lacroix looks okay, so touch wood.
We have a
good shout. I'd forgotten about
him. Should we take a question? We got one from FPL Joe, who also runs a YouTube channel. I think he says West Ham has the second lowest chances conceded from the left in their last 10 games. Is that a stat you guys would consider or not? So Johnny, when you both you and Thomas use quite a lot of data and objective data. Do you also include positional data into your models? I don't know if you can say that, or is that some stat that you also would consider when making decisions?
I can go first, unless Bronx is going to call me out and say the opposite. But I don't look at this too much. I think it's interesting. I kind of follow it from a point of view of a football fan, and that's an interesting statistic. And maybe when I'm watching the game, that we'll see them try and attack that side because it's a bit weaker. But if you look at a lot of the market data, that obviously is kind of try and balance out over time. Then if the right back is out injured and they've got a backup right back and they're expecting, that might be the side that they attack on, then you don't really see a movement in like the player props of like, okay, the left winger's, higher than he might have been and the right winger's lower. Partly because I think it just depends how the teams play. I don't think the chances move materially enough. And it's quite noisy. So in some weeks, it might actually have an effect, but you can't be confident it's going to. And actually, if they attack down the left-hand side, does that mean, or the right-hand side, if they're, good at defending on that side, does that mean that the right winger is going to get through and then cross it and NDI is going to be at the back post? Or does that mean that NDI is going to get through and, like, who actually benefits points-wise from more of the attacks come down one side? It's not always like this guy benefits. So it's interesting, and I don't think it has zero effect, but I think you're going to get more bang for your buck in terms of doing analysis to look at overall team strength and things like that than you are to anything positional. I think people tend to give it like a little bit too much weight than what effect it actually has. But that's not to fully discredit. I think it's, and it is interesting.
No, I think too that especially if you go on short samples here, like that doesn't really favor that positional data should be the main deciding factor. I just checked. I followed these numbers too, just to see like what the like from which sides and like positional areas the chances, and both assist wise and non-pen XG from these types of players, and I see West Ham being fairly average, or actually exactly average on the left side. If you look at the full season perspective, to take that case for itself, I think too that this should not be the reason why you pick someone. Maybe you can decide and look at this if you have two players that you're like they're actually bang on even. It could sway your decision one way or the other, but I think that's probably more so to talk to your own gut feeling about having made the decision yourself when you watch the games and follow the games on the weekend. Um, there was something like at one point with like I remember FPL Villain said a lot about the defensive right hand side of Aston Villa at one point. That was actually pretty clear in the numbers too. That you could see that a lot of the assists came from the left-sided players of the opposing teams, and I think it's more interesting than something you should put into your models too heavily. But it can be a decider, I think, more than the reason for making the decision.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers of context as well to sort of think about and try and piece out. And actually, like sometimes, I'm not saying this is the case, but hypothetically, let's say West Ham's left-hand side, or West Ham's right-hand side, whichever side it was, their right-hand side has conceded a lot of chances in the last 4 games. But then if you look at their opponent,
Yes,
and the opponent's best player is their left winger, in all the, like, you have to factor in all of this. And once you start removing another layer of context and so on to try and really pinpoint, is there some actual signal in this, then you actually get to, it needs to be quite clear and over quite a long period of time to have some confidence in it. Like if you had one game of, oh, there were no shots on this side, then you know that's not enough to say anything. But if they were doing it all season, then maybe there is. So yeah, that's the question people ask a lot, is like, how much is enough? And it's quite hard to kind of go like, okay, well, there's no point at which you go, it's enough now. After that one game, this is now sufficient. But yeah, it's not your starting point, as Bronx said.
No. I think all the other years I've played before I got in a group chat with Bronx and Simon and the other guys, I was I always look for some sort of confirmation bias. So I would find a player, and then I would look for all sorts that could kind of confirm me that that's the most brilliant pick that you could ever make in this. And you can always find something, right? And I think some of these stats might be, something that people tend to look at for some sort of confirmation bias. At least that's what I did before Bronx and Simon start infiltrating my brain, and slowly improved it over time. We got some brother banter in the chat. My little brother, he wrote, FPLPhysioo, do you think you could fall out of the top 2.5k with your recent form? That's
what a horrible question.
Nah, it's good banter though.
What a horrible rank, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine being 2.5k.
Yeah. He's I think he's ranked. I don't know what he's ranked. But okay, so just to continue,
Are you not
my
answering?
current yeah. Well, someone in the chat answered and said he's way above 2.5k, back into the top 100 this week. So I got someone defending me out there in the chat.
Fingers
Apparently.
crossed. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my current free hit, and I think I should just go through it, right? So it includes Hermansen and Mavropanos, and that's basically because of the extremely good underlying stats of West Ham at home. And yeah, I think I'd start somewhere else. So I got the three template players, or who seems to be template players on free hit: Gabriel, Pedro Porro, and Virgil. And then I'm stacking up on Saliba and Gabriel instead of, people tend to go Gabriel and Raya. At least that's my feeling. So I'm stacking up on Gabriel and Saliba, and then also Rice. So I'm seeking some sort of co-bar there of the set piece taker and the set piece threats. And I think, yeah, and then Salah and Szoboszlai, I might change for Xavi Simons if he's predicted to start. Bruno, of course, and then Bowen. So I think my thesis with this team is that, okay, what am I really risking from what seems to be the template, right? The template seems to be something like Bowen and Solanke on top, and the midfielder seems to be Bruno, Salah, Rice, and then it's a mix of maybe Gakpo, Wirtz, and then the fifth midfielder might be Ndiaye or Gibbs White. And then the three defenders seems to be Gabriel, Pedro Porro, and Virgil. At least that's how I see the close to being template here. So what I'm risking here is going without Solanke and moving that player into the defense to kind of stack up on West Ham. And then I'm removing also the fifth midfielder, which is for me kind of hard. I think it could be a conflict between mid players. Um, so I feel like, and I want your guys to take on this. I think I'm not. It feels like a pretty template free hit with some, I don't know, maybe some higher upside because of the stacking of the West Ham defenders and the Arsenal defenders. Hermansen instead of Raya, also because Raya seems to have a ceiling of 5 or 6 points. Um, um, yeah, so that's my uh, initial or current draft right now.
It's nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think, would you consider, I know Virgil's kind of one of the quote template picks or a popular pick, but would you consider moving him forward and having triple Liverpool at midfield or attack? And then that would also let you, if you wanted to, put Rice back to another Arsenal defender. I think the Arsenal defense is a bit tricky because like Timber's been out and isn't looking great, and Hincapié has been playing left back, so probably does play there, but Calafiori might be back. I don't think Lewis Skelly's going to play, but he's there. So picking like a third Arsenal defender, like it would probably have to be Raya, but would that be too much stacking, do you think? And also you're taking out a couple of popular specific players.
I think both it would be too much stacking, but I lean more towards actually picking an offensive Arsenal player. Um, it's tied between Arsenal and City, and they both have to score goals. It could be it could come down to the goal difference. And if Havertz is predicted to start, I think he's a very, very interesting pick. So I'm closer to going Saliba out and Havertz in than I am going triple Arsenal defense.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good.
Yeah, I like it too. It's Team Red.
It is
very good.
It is
Yeah,
Team Red.
no Everton. Right, that's the only team blue who are any good.
Yeah, I there's some talk about like going the Everton route as well. I much prefer the West Ham route here, and going for Mavropanos and Hermansen. Mavropanos, at least I mean, he doesn't have that many games, right? But he's shown he's capable of scoring goals. Let's just put it that way. That's one thing, and Everton leak more DEFCON to center backs, and his numbers are really good for DEFCONs as well.
Yeah.
And West Ham looking good for clean sheets, better than Everton. I think like he's no like in isolation, him or an Everton defender, even Tarkowski. I think Mavropanos is better, like more than the models suggest.
I think also like not that the Everton defense is going to be really popular, but they might be the most popular differential, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So if you go that extra layer for going for West Ham, you're going against those guys who are trying to be a bit different, another level, and actually you're not. It's not like you're picking a much worse team. I think the West Ham, like for all intents and purposes, West Ham and Everton are kind of projecting fairly similarly. If anything, marginal preference for West Ham. That's a good one to like take your stance on and be like, I think the West Ham defense has been good, so I get to put them in and take the stance on it. And if it comes off, it feels really good because you're like, yeah, that's something I spotted and I wanted to do, rather than just like throwing some players in who, not that they'd be bad players, but sometimes people want a differential and they just pick a player that they really fancy and they're like, I'm going to try and force him in. And I've got my one guy that no one else has. And actually, that's just a bit risky. Whereas, yeah, the West Ham defense is, I think, a good secondary bet to make. So that's fun.
That's at least my current draft.
What about like Gakpo or Wirtz over Szoboszlai?
I'm a bit worried
as a question
about,
rather than a suggestion.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about Wirtz's minutes. To be honest, he's had like quite a few games where he's been subbed off around the 70-minute mark. Gakpo, haven't really looked into him yet, so might do. Don't really got an answer to that question, to be fair. But might look into him. I've seen him in quite a few drafts, but haven't looked into it yet.
I think
Johnny,
go on.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I've been a big Szoboszlai fan for a while, but I don't know if it's how they will line up, but they dropped McAllister out of the lineup and put Jones at right back, and they like Szoboszlai has played the defensive of that kind of box midfield that they play, which is kind of the worst of both worlds for him, because if he ends up at right back, his attacking threat goes way down. But he still has some of it. He's still on set pieces and things, and he still gets forward and has progressive passes, but his DEFCONs go up because he's playing right back. But then if he's playing at the sort of top of that box midfield, he's not, super attacking, but he's there. He's in the right areas. He's box crashing. You can see how he might get involved in the attack and get some assists, but there's, no DEFCONs at that point. So if he's playing in the defensive bin next to Gravenberch, then he kind of has neither. And that's not to say he still has the offensive threat and he's still there. And if one of them is going to get forward, it's going to be Szoboszlai, and it's not like he's definitely going to play there. But I do worry a little bit about him this week. I might still end up picking him because he's just so assured of the minutes. And I agree, there's some question marks over like Wirtz, Gakpo. I do think they both play, but then how fit is Isak? Like, he doesn't look very fit, but then he seems to look like he's going to start and then come off. But then is that going to, is Rio going to start? Is Gakpo going to come off the bench? They need to make a sub for an attacker at some point. So that might be that it's Gakpo on the bench who comes on. Or I think it's probably Rio who comes on for Isak and they move people around. But I think that second Liverpool spot after Salah's a little bit harder to pick than it might look, if that makes sense.
I could
just put Xavi in. There you go. Yeah. Because I think they are all good options. But
you and Press had a chat about the penalty situation.
The penalty,
Liverpool as well.
Yes, that's the other one.
That's the other thing in that discussion, right? Have you made up your mind where you're going to put the number tomorrow?
Us on penalties.
Yeah, into the Malay. Do you expect to have Salah as clear as it is right now? Like both you and Review have it really high.
Yeah, I think so. I think we dropped it
also after George's comments. from
Sorry?
the PSG game. The Hungary Szoboszlai had those comments after the penalty in the PSG game.
He did. Yeah. I think, I mean, it's really hard to like, it's so hard to draw signal from events like that on the pitch of like, that's not that it doesn't mean anything, but if if I suddenly said, yeah, we're going to change our opinion massively based on a penalty that wasn't taken, it just sounds a bit like I agree. Like there's some signal there. Szoboszlai had the ball, and it's really hard to say. But like Salah's had pens in lots of instances when he really shouldn't. In the terms of like, there's a better penalty taker on the pitch, and he misses enough of them. And it's his last few games. I think if Salah wants it, then I mean, this is why it's tricky because it comes down to personal opinion. We don't really have data on this, other than Salah's taken most of the penalties. But yeah, I think Szoboszlai over Isak as like the secondary penalty taker might be something that makes a bit more sense. Especially if Isak's not fully fit. Like I don't know how fit you have to be to take a penalty, but it's probably going to have some effect if Szoboszlai's got a good record and wants it. But my opinion is that I think Salah's still the most likely taker. But I've seen a lot of chat about Szoboszlai being likely to take it over him. But I think, yeah, no one has really yet come in and taken the penalty over Salah in a similar position. Like we had McAllister being a very good penalty taker come in, who didn't take them over him. Fabinho was really good at one point. Like we've had other players who have had good records and probably would have wanted to take it, not take it. But yeah, it's really hard to say. I don't know. I guess it comes down to what Jeppe thinks in terms of who you get. Like, are you going to pick Szoboszlai because you think he's on pens, or do you think he's not?
I mean, it is partly because I think he might be on pens, but it's also the player that might sub him with the Savi, which is also maybe a minute's risk. So yeah,
Another penalty question mark as well.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
Salah's not going to play the full game as well, so there's probably like 10 minutes at the end where they're definitely Szoboszlai's. But yeah, Xavi. Do you want to talk about Xavi? Do you think he's on pens? Do you think he's going to play?
I think he's gonna play. I think the performance he put out the last game just almost nailed him. If I were Spurs manager, except the cramp that he had the last 15 minutes, and he ran around like he was close to dying. But it was a tough match. I think he's gonna play. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm being too optimistic here. I think he's more nailed than Solanke might be. I think we could maybe see something there. I mean, it's 5 or 6 games in a row now that he hasn't really produced anything. Could he make a change there? I don't know. But to be honest, that Szoboszlai, that Xavi Simons spot, I'm kind of happy with that 5 at the back actually, and also stacking up and kind of chasing a bit of upside without being too risky. And that's also why I'm kind of doing it, because I think I only see a few essentials. I don't really feel worried about not owning Solanke, about not owning Szoboszlai, about not owning Xavi Simons, not owning Gakpo. So it's that spot is just up for grabs, and I think it's going to be decided 1 hour or 10 minutes before the deadline.
Hypothetically, if you could turn Xavi Simons into a 6th defender, would you do that? There's a lot of defender options. Would you rather do that?
I was
6-3-1.
No, I would probably do it. Just for the heck of it.
Who would you get? Anso?
Van de Ven, I think.
Yeah. Danso's defcons are actually pretty strong. Like I know he's not as nailed as Van de Ven, but I think he's an outside shout if we're looking at a second Spurs defenders to put in your 5 at the back.
Yeah, I think I have a bit of minutes PTSD from Gameweek 33. So
Yeah.
I just want to
Sorted.
have 11 players that I know will play at least close to 90 minutes.
What about? I think someone asked about Casemiro. We've got other there's Man United players. Like you could get, I think Cunha was in recovery today, but might be fine. Like, is there room for an Mbomo or a Cunha or a Casemiro or hell, even a Šeško?
Šeško, no.
Why not?
Cunha, I did have him in my very, very first drafts, and then I saw the recovery day training pictures, etc. But he's also, he's a 75-minute man, sometimes a 90-minute man, and I'm really, I don't know. I'm just going 90-minute men on this team.
He's hit 90 in 4 of the last 6.
Okay.
And 82 and 81 in the other 2.
Yeah,
89 the week before.
7 minutes over the last 7.
They're very high. It does seem
and
to be Amad and Mbomo. I mean, like,
he's also produced well in
will.
those games.
Yeah.
So I
mean,
think
it could be
Cunha's minutes are probably, injury aside, I'd say Cunha's minutes are actually the second highest after Bruno, probably. Perhaps, but then I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like it's set, is it? Like, he has moved it around a bit. Casemiro's minutes are good.
Very good.
Pretty sure of that.
Very good.
Set pieces. Or the end of set pieces.
Yeah.
Too boring.
Yeah, true. Yeah, too boring. Yeah. The only boring player I pick is Elliot Anderson. That's the only one I go with.
Okay. People call Rice boring as well. I know he's the attacker.
Yeah,
where's my boy, like Scott?
Arsenal attacker.
Jesus
you need Anderson and Scott and Casemiro and
Rice.
Thomas Souček. Throw him in.
Thomas Souček.
Why not?
Wow, that would be what a move.
I don't think I'd do that.
I have to look into this guy now. Forgot about him.
That was the name off the top of my head. That wasn't an actual recommendation.
It's not there.
People, Fernandez. Souček plays a lot now.
Are we still in?
We'll see.
Souček. Yeah, that's
no, he's not very good.
No.
Not good enough.
Not good enough, no. Thomas, should we?
Never mind.
Should we move away from my 5 at the back, free hit, and onto yours?
Sure, we can. I've held myself back a bit because there's a few of those picks you have there. I would like to talk about why I don't own these guys.
Ooh,
that's good.
Sneaky.
That's always good. We got 83 watching us right now, so that's thank you to everyone watching.
Like and subscribe, or what you say. I've never tried this before.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, I always forgot that. Yeah, like
Do
and
the admin.
subscribe.
Leave a comment.
Yeah.
Let us know your favorite.
Yeah, just a second.
Favorite West Ham midfielder.
Yeah.
Is it Thomas Souček?
Thomas, is this your Solio here?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and tell us why it's Thomas Souček, I think, Johnny.
Okay, yeah. Or why isn't it?
So I mean, it's not fully settled this draft, but this is where I currently stand. So I guess you can all see it now, but it's a triple stacked Arsenal defense with Raya, Gabriel, and Saliba. It's Virgil as well, and then my boy Mavropanos. If we start up there, well, I think I would love to have some sort of triple stack in defense if I don't compromise my expected outcome too heavily. Arsenal look really like not extremely good recently, but overall like so good defensively. I think Saliba is a bit underrated in some of the models. Like if you look at stuff like Saliba is not going to score a lot, but I mean we talk about Gabriel having this insane offensive threat all the time. On top of obviously he's a bit better of DefCon than Saliba is, but Gabriel's expected goals numbers are not like amazing this season. Actually, I think this is the worst season he's had in the past 4 years, if I remember correctly. Not saying Gabriel is a bad pick. I'll have him in my team here, but I think this could sometimes impact a little bit on how bonuses looked at for Saliba in these models. When I look at it into how the season has played out, like the Arsenal defense is very flat for who has been the best baseline bonus defender in the team. So, sort of to speak, I would expect we get a low scoring game against Newcastle, or at least that's what I'm hoping for with the triple Arsenal defense. And it can just as well be Saliba that goes away with the 3 bonus points as it could be Gabriel. Obviously, if Gabriel scores, he will run away with it, but it's not super likely. So I think that could be a good way around it. I would also think about Hincapié if we are pretty certain he's going to play, but more likely just to be Saliba. I'm not going to touch Virgil in my team because, first of all, I don't really like to triple up offensively. Because I mean there could be this covariance between who assists and who scores, but they also have to share the bonus points, and it also rips me to shreds if Crystal Palace get their clean sheet from being the best defense recently, as I talked about with Johnny, right? No, and Virgil has looked really good. Like been having a lot of chances recently. His DEFCON has come back up. Crystal Palace is the best team, if I remember correctly, for centre backs against to DEFCON against. So I think he can't leave my team. And then I think we talked about West Ham. I think Mavropanos is a great pick for the reasons we've talked about earlier. But most notably, there's no Spurs defenders in my team.
Big Wolves fan, are you?
Sorry?
Big Wolves fan?
If we go into the group chat, maybe, yeah.
Adam Armstrong goals coming.
It's not so much that I think Wolves are going to score a lot of goals, but I mean, what I spend a lot of time on is to go in to see what is the expected value made up from across different tools. We have a fairly high probability of Danso DEFCON in the models, and while his numbers are good looking at him specifically, if we look at Wolves, they don't allow a lot of DEFCONs because, I mean, they don't play on the opposing half. So it's not a lot of DEFCONs for their center backs, and I think that one's a little high, and then we very quickly come close to the other ones, or even if I bump Mavropanos just a little bit, which I think I'd rather lean up than down. I think he's better. And then there's Poro, FPL legend. But when I look into the numbers for Poro this season, they're pretty horrible. And I can't really match them even closely to what both Review and Solio put the assist numbers especially up to. His expected assist numbers for the season is 0.15 per 90. And I can't really find a change recently when I look at like taking more corners, having more crosses. Maybe you have a comment on that, Johnny?
Oh, I was going to say, I think not to defend the numbers.
Some talk.
Whatever. I do think he lost a share of set pieces for a while that he seems to be back on a bit now. I don't know if that's really shown up in the terms of the numbers that he's taking of them. And the assists ones are quite difficult as well because we have to model fantasy assists, which are things that aren't really, they don't appear in the expected assists data or anything. So yeah, he might be a little bit inflated, but yeah, I do think he's lost set pieces and then got them back, which might have something to do with it. But yeah, it's, there might be a bit of air in there. I don't think he's far and away and amazing enough. Yeah, especially if you don't think Spurs defense is looking great. It's really hard to say with new manager, one game.
Yeah. So also the model I run with post game expected goals data and assist data, I adjust for the fantasy assist as well, and to bump it up to the whatever 90 something 91.7 if I remember correctly from the start of the season is the numbers you guys put out. But I mean, there's obviously modeling many ways to go about this. But
I will have a look because sometimes there's a little tweak you need to make. But
I just want to say, after I did this, Pedro Porro is ranked 175 of FPL players for expected FPL points per start. 175.
Okay. Wow, that's low.
It's not very good, is it?
Where is Thomas Souček?
174, I think. Last I checked. The other point I was going to make.
Should I check? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
While I find Thomas Souček.
While you're checking, I was just looking at you talking about Gabriel and Saliba and Gabriel's attacking threat, and it's last 10 is an indicative sample without being the whole signal, but Saliba has got more NPXG per 90 than Gabriel in the last 10 games. It's not loads. It's like 0.06 and Gabriel's 0.02, 0.03. But and actually Gabriel's assists are a bit higher, and he is much closer to the DEFCON threshold than Saliba is. So I don't think Saliba's likely to hit it. But yeah, they're both in the mix for those set pieces, which is where a lot of their goals come from.
I would always pick Gabriel over Saliba here too. So
yes, but yeah, Saliba's got some attacking threat, and he's also if you're going to pick another Arsenal, I don't think Hincapie's nailed enough or better enough to warrant that. So yeah, I think the triple up is still good, especially because I think Arsenal attack is one I'd want to get into if I could, but
yeah, you can spend a bit of time with this because Rice is not in my draft, so I'll come back to it as well. But you can start.
Oh, he's not there at all. Yeah, who's gonna play is the question really. They've been Saka's not back yet, might be back, so there's a question marks on him and Madueke. Martinelli and Madueke have been rotating minutes. Trossard's not really starting. Eze maybe, but Ødegaard's back. Zubamendi's pretty nailed, but he's not an attacking threat. Havertz or Joker, they've got so many options. I don't think I could pick one. I think Havertz is the one that I've thought might be interesting, especially since there's spare forward spots in terms of drafts. But again, he's not amazing. He's not I'll reshape everything. So even though Saliba's got a few I wouldn't say question marks, but a few reasons that he's not brilliant, then you're not blocking that much out. I guess Rice might be popular, so that's what you go against more than Rice is brilliant and you worry in that sense. But yeah, how come you have gone Rice? No Rice.
Yeah, so talking about Rice being brilliant. Oh, should we come back to Souček? He is 288.
Oh,
okay.
For expected FPL points per start.
Right. He's not a pick then. Thomas, just to back up your triple Arsenal defense, I also looked into Newcastle expected goals away from home, and they're absolutely freaking rubbish. It's crazy bad.
Yeah. Probably no Gordon as well.
Yeah, and Gordon, is he confirmed out or is he still a doubt?
I think he's still a doubt. There was some piece from Craig Hope today, who's one of the, he's the Newcastle journalist, but then most of the Newcastle journalists aren't. I'm sorry, Craig Hope, if you're listening, but most of the Newcastle journalists aren't. I don't know. The news is always a bit weird, but it did say that like apparently he did have an injury and might not be back yet, but hopes to be back for the season. But then there was conspiracies about he'd been dropped for transfer speculation stuff, and I don't know. I wouldn't expect him to play, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think we'll know. I think he'll just turn up or he won't. But yes,
I think
he's part of the attack. That's good. I think if you line up with Elanga, Osula, and Murphy, or Barnes, or whoever, that's not very strong.
I haven't checked, but if I remember correctly, Newcastle are actually one of those teams that, like, on a fairly long trend, like have a higher home away delta than the average for the league. If you want to put anything into that, but I see the same thing that you.
It's hard to I think normally just going a league-wide home away delta tends to do fairly well. But yeah, I mean, if anyone was going to have a larger home away delta, then Newcastle kind of makes sense for the extra travel and so on. But and
great home fans, right?
Yes, thank you.
Johnny is a Newcastle fan, those who don't know.
Yes, yeah. I'm not there very often, but
when you're talking about home and away delta, just for the viewers, and also because I just want to be certain, we're talking about the difference between their home stats and their away stats, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So teams generally do better at home. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And we kind of even had even more confirmation that makes sense when COVID happened and they did the empty stadium games, and actually the home away record sort of smushed. The delta wasn't as big when there was no fans and no crowd, and it's still there a little bit, but yeah. And you get periods of this team is doing better away than they are at home, but I think generally if you assume home is 10% better than away ish, then that kind of works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's tricky because sometimes you end up looking at only the home stats, and you go, oh well, the home is better than the away, so I look at only. But then the away stats still have some signal on how they're going to play at home. So actually, not always, but most of the time, looking at all of the games and then applying the home away delta afterwards to the game that's coming up tends to do a little bit better than making the sample half as big, because even a season worth of data is actually kind of semi-small. But yeah, I think there's enough signal in all manner of different ways that Arsenal clean sheet home to Newcastle is a reasonable thing to aim for. I don't think, no one would be surprised if Arsenal kept a clean sheet there.
No. And Thomas, then take us through your midfielders.
Yeah, okay, so let's take the easy ones with the Salah and Fernandes have to go into the team. Right now it's with the Bruno capped. I might as well just go Salah, but I think it depends a lot of the penalty consensus. Tomorrow I want to go Salah, badly.
Really?
Yeah, I want to, but
what's stopping you?
If I'm not completely certain he's on fence. And it's not that I have to be completely certain, but there is something in me saying that I should be more in doubt than what I want to be.
Sure.
But
you'd be quite frustrated if you had that doubt, captained him, and then he didn't take the pen, which is not always the decision-making method. But yeah, you think about how you'd feel if X happened, or
I would basically always take the risk against the field if I objectively think it's even. I think markets still look a bit high on Man United, and Bruno didn't do anything again last week. His numbers are not in a amazing spot recently. I think you can. I mean, and they're so close already. So if you like tick 1.1 up for each, they're dead even, right? I think you could go Salah here, but like let's not do a big captaincy discussion on that one. I'll see tomorrow, and I may go Salah. Then Cunha's in the team. He's definitely gonna stay in the team if we get positive news tomorrow. Let's say that we see training pictures and maybe get something that he's fully trained, and a blue line in Jump the Wave. That would help me to put Cunha in my team. And then Birds, I think we touched upon it before. But when I look into the season-long stats for the Liverpool mids, Birds looks to be the best one that are not Salah. And it's now, I think, by a margin as well. There's quite a big gap between him and Szoboszlai actually in my model. And if we look at recent stats but like for a long time, Szoboszlai has not really created any non-pen XG. I think for more than, if I took a sample of more than 10 games, let me just see again. And it's like an extremely low average, like 0.06 for the last 13 games. That's pretty low. And it's irrespective of the positions he play in. So his attacking midfield numbers, even if he were to play there, are not amazing either.
But then look how good his free kicks are. Like the ball's juiced, he smacks it in. No,
I've actually looked into this, Johnny.
He is into your brain.
So,
they're good goals, but yeah, they're not.
The funny thing is, if you look at Szoboszlai in his entire Premier League career, he has fairly poor finishing skill actually.
Okay,
like it's like like depending on what metrics you use, it's like I think when I last updated, it's like 0.83, which is pretty poor.
Oh, okay.
Depends how you set it up, right? And because I was scared of those free kicks, so I was like, I wanted some confirmation bias. I want to see which teams allow the most free kicks that have actually been a shot at goal. And obviously Crystal Palace is second for most free kicks against.
Ooh.
And it's like the margins are extremely small between the teams.
The narrative is bubbling. Here we come.
Yeah, the narrative is so bubbling. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough to be like that's way higher than any other team, but yeah,
exactly,
and like a lot of it comes from the set pieces and stuff as well. So, the assists for Szoboszlai, and obviously got the corner assist last week. Yeah. So he's never really been a super goal threat. Like most of it does come from assist stuff. But yeah, that is a bit lower than he normally is.
And that's back to the penalty situation, right? So that could be that would be the other one. I don't think I want to go Gakpo. I'm not as concerned with the Wirtz minutes as Jeppe is, but I'll see what the predictors say tomorrow too. So a lot of stuff can shuffle in the midfield here. Harry Wilson could also be NDI, but I don't want NDI against Mavropanos, and I think they're basically even. So it's like putting someone else in this spot. Probably would be Harry Wilson.
Thomas Souček.
You can see how they're stacked Hermansen and Diouf for the triple
on the
defense in case the Arsenal game gets cancelled, right? So unfortunately no room for Thomas Souček. Yes. No. So but again, no Rice. But it's the same story with the Rice, just as with the Szoboszlai actually. Last 10 games, he has 0.03 non-pen XG. 10 games.
Worse, yeah. They're all assists and bonus and DEFCON and yeah.
I don't think it's enough to warrant those. No, like I could adjust it down to in the models and see where that goes. But like there's also a lot of impacts into bonus calculations and stuff that doesn't really follow completely everywhere. That is what it is. But I think also like you can always look at the DEFCON numbers too for a rise, but like slight downward trend. How much do you want to put into that over that time frame? It's
people have been
at the cost of a triple Arsenal defense. I don't want him there.
People have been joking about saying, "Oh, I've got an Arsenal attacker. Who've you got? Rice." So that's not an Arsenal attacker, is it? Which is kind of true. It's like, you know, he's not the most attacking. Sure, he's a midfielder, but he still gets involved in the attack. So, like, you know, you're looking for an assist or that kind of thing as well. I was going to add one final thing just to jump back to Bruno. I know we weren't going to do captaincy stuff, but his DEFCONs are through the floor as well. Like the first half of the season, he was doing like 10, 11. He's averaging about 5 or 6 now, like since the start of the year. So like, I mean, it's factored in, of course, but like I think some people are kind of forgetting that he doesn't do DEFCONs where he is. We want him back at defensive mid. He was better there. Everyone's complaining, so but no,
he was. My model is clear that he's better in defensive mid than he is.
He's worse now. I know. Very sad.
Yeah.
A shame.
It is.
But I mean, he's still very good, obviously. But I just remembered that as well. Yeah. So Wilson, Solanke. You have gone Spurs. You got one.
You're not going with the DEFCON beast.
Oh man, Bowen's numbers are not pretty either. Like if you asked Jeppe for a sixth defender, if I can go 0 forwards, that would no question.
I tried.
Didn't let you.
Just to be sure that you couldn't do it, because there was a time, right, back in the days where you could play 5-5-0, right?
I don't know. Was there?
No.
Not when I was playing. Okay.
I don't remember, but I might be wrong.
Maybe it was some of those national fantasies then.
Maybe. I don't remember this, but I'm not doubting
probably
you.
Not
just
No, probably not. It's probably not.
People have wanted to do it as a joke.
But... Yeah. Actually, I tried to do it today to bypass the whole source code, but no, it didn't. No. But you're going without the DEFCON beast in Bone.
Yes. That's the short answer. No, I mean Solanke could be Bone as well. That's again, let's see tomorrow. But I would prefer Solanke. Wolves don't look good, and I don't think Bowen's numbers look good. That's quite a big discrepancy between review and Solio and Bowen. Review has Bowen quite a lot higher than Solio, but I'm in this case much closer to where Solio puts him, and his averages for the season are also below the current prediction, and Everton is like some sort of a middle fixture. So I think that's more of a reliable area to put Bowen in. So you have quite a big gap on Solanke, but like Solanke hasn't shown anything in
it's hard,
jersey,
right?
Like, but he deserves to get in my team. He was such a big boy for me when he played for the Cherries.
He was so good. There was a season where basically it was like Haaland, Watkins, Solanke was your front line, and you just didn't have to touch it. Now we're like, gosh, should I pick the forward who does DEFCONs and 0.1 goals a game? Should I pick him? But yeah, a couple of other shouts. Obviously, we can't get Havertz in with triple Arsenal defense, but Watkins was one there, and you could even go Thiago. I know it's not very exciting, and he'll be very popular on the non-free hit teams, but like they are showing good numbers. Those two, I think, whereas these guys aren't really. Would you look at either of those, or who's on the bench? Brobby. Are you going to play Brobby? Could start him.
No.
No.
I don't like the Watkins minutes. I do like
we started most of them, but yeah,
but he gets subbed early quite often.
sub for Abraham,
And I would love Havertz, but again, like he won't get like 90 minutes probably up front. But that would cost me in my stacking in defense. But he's like a perfect free hit kind of guy, and he had like 2 extremely good games coming into this week. So that could be something. Yeah, and there's, who did you mention? Oh, Thiago.
yeah.
I really like Thiago, but yeah, no, I tried to look a bit into it. It wasn't enough.
I'm just trying to check
Yeah.
now. I don't know if I've got this right. I think Robbie has the highest NPXG. Oh no, after Havertz. Robbie's got like 0.6, 0.7 last 5 games. It's a very small sample, but he's like 0.4 NPXG 90 last 10. Maybe.
I mean, that would be a sick punt.
But he's not going to take the pens. He doesn't have pens, though, does he?
It sounds like a very good first bench, right?
Yeah. I'd be happy on the first. I'm just trying to explore. I was like, I hadn't really looked at too many of the forwards yet, and I'm like,
that's really
like
nothing.
The best options are the guys who just kind of a bit. So, just trying to see if there was anyone else. I honestly think Thiago will be quite a good go. I mean, I'll have him as a non-free hitter, and he'll be popular in non-free hits. But then most people are free hitting. So.
Definitely would also just have him or keep him in a non-free hit situation. No.
Can't do Beto. Can't do Raul Muniz. No.
What about
Sheshko?
Rodgers?
Is Sheshko going to start?
I don't think I'll go Rodgers now.
No.
We're just listing player names now.
Yeah, I think, but there is not actually much to pick from in this free hit, I think.
Adam Armstrong?
No. But I mean, that should be to like fully against the Spurs defense.
That's a signal. I'll stop naming random players.
Yeah, because like at some point we'll get to number 278 and there'll be Thomas Suchek again, and we won't go that down route. I just wanted to
Isak.
I just checked Isak, yeah, but
How did we forget him?
How many minutes did he play in the last match?
Certainly not enough.
72, I think. Quite, yeah.
72?
I think so.
I mean, he could have
21 before that. I mean, I'd be pretty confident in a start, but he's going to come off. And also,
there's a money issue on the free hit too.
Yeah, there's also also pretty plausible. Like, because sometimes you're like, oh, this guy starts but might sub off early, and you just take that risk. But Isak could very easily sub off at half time if they're like, oh, he's not feeling quite right today, having started it. Whereas, that's not normally it can happen sometimes, but it's not normally something you'd factor in as a risk. Whereas I think a half time or pre-60 sub for Isak is maybe not the most likely outcome, but it's likely enough to worry about.
Speaking of
even if he probably gets 70 on.
One of you guys mentioned Watkins. I've seen him in quite a lot of the free hit drafts on X and also among some of the YouTubers. He's not in like any of you guys, and you're Johnny. If you had to make like a free hit, even though you're not playing it, he wouldn't be in that team. You would have players like Bowen and Solanke in front of him.
I think so. Yeah, I think on a free hit, especially, I'd be quite happy to like take a chance on Solanke. given that the other options aren't, like, you're not going Solanke over Haaland or someone, really reliable, really amazing. I think he's someone that I'm fairly happy to go, okay, there's not been that much there recently, but there's enough to go, well, Wolves' defence aren't good. Spurs have been a bit better under De Zerbi in a game or two. They look like they're clicking a bit more, even though it's not still good. I'd be fairly confident in Solanke penalties, but you might be a bit less confident. You might think that, a little bit on I'm not going to captain him. You moved it to Salah. I thought you were captaining Solanke. I was like, worried what you did. I'll have to talk him down. It's not that good. Some people think Xavi Simons might take it, or for pens, but even without the pens, he's like I'd still be fairly confident. There's enough there that even though it's a bit punty, I think you're not really taking much on. I do think I'd try and fit Havertz in. I think if I was playing my free hit, unless there was enough signal elsewhere that he's not going to start, I think I'd be quite happy to try and fit someone like that in. And maybe go like Raya, Gabriel, Havertz. But I haven't looked at it in too much detail, given that, I'm not playing it. Don't want to tease. Oh, this is what I could have had. It was great. Yeah. Again, I think I don't know. I think they're all viable. Yeah. I think if you've got any personal preference or any gut feeling on one of them over another, then I think that's perfectly fine to go with, given that none of them are a standout. And sadly, we have to pick one. Can't play 5-5-0.
And we could back in the very, very first season of 2002 and 2003.
Oh, could you?
Yeah, you could play some bonkers formations. So I just checked it.
Or you just had to field 11 in some way or another.
It was apparently you could also play 2-5-3. Was one of the 10 selectable formations that FPL managers could use. 8 of those survived to this day.
There was a chip that let you play that. They used to have all-out attack where you played 2-5-3. But all you just had an attacker over a defender for 1 week. It's not a very powerful chip, is it?
No. Yeah.
Are these the forwards? Yeah.
Thomas,
I think,
yeah.
Will Asula has come into my head, and I think that's a sign that we've run out of forwards.
Yeah,
because I'm like, maybe he might play. So who are the other forwards? Yeah, there's not any. Palace, no.
And the forwards are kind of, which is also why I'm going with currently 5-4-1. It's not. I don't feel they're not that tempting as other picks are.
I think Igor Jesus is the only one we haven't mentioned in terms of forwards with a fixture who play minutes. I was just looking through. I was like, that's now all of them. We've done all of them.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Wood.
It's good. We should cover all options, right, for the viewer.
I'm just looking options.
I'm looking through the comments, and I've seen Frimpong being mentioned quite a lot. And they're almost having some sort of discussion in the chat about Frimpong. And
he didn't play the last game, did he? I think he missed one.
I think probably a bit too risky.
Yeah, way too risky.
And it's not really. Obviously upside from being an attacking player, but on average, he's not good pick.
He probably comes on if he doesn't start as well.
Yeah, which is a problem.
We forgot the other two West Ham forwards. We haven't done Tati and Pablo. But no, thanks.
That's it for the forwards, I think.
Yes, I just saw a comment on Tati.
Could we?
I'm certain I'll play only one.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. I might play 2 if Havertz is good to go. I don't know. Just for the viewers, do you guys think we could agree upon a few essentials for a free hit? Should we go with? I'll go with one. Thomas goes one, and then Jason, and then at some point we might stop
Do we
because
want
we.
to build a draft one pick at a time? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, should we do that? Should do that?
You sure?
Um,
But
Are you screen sharing, Thomas? Do you want to make a new branch?
oh, maybe I'll be. So let's.
You're driving. There we are.
It's the easiest way to usually I press the solve button.
If you select free hit, then it should clear the team. There you go.
You're some clever boys.
Who's first?
It's up
to
Thomas. Yeah.
I think can we build like a fun free hit?
Yeah.
I think if you shouldn't go Rhea, I like Hermansen best of the other ones. I know Ruffs is also. Do I even have him? There he is.
Save heavy.
Yeah, he is, and also an option. Hermansen would be my shout though.
Okay, so this is the fun.
Stacking. We can also do a regular one.
A boring one.
Nah, I like to do the fun ones. It went a bit too crazy last time. But if we're going,
how fun are we going?
We're going chasing absolute maximum upside.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll put Mavropanos in then to go with him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Jeppe?
We're chasing God damn it. Do we want to go with a full? It depends. Do we play 3-5-2 or do we play?
Let's
play
start
two
with
forwards.
selecting 3 defense.
3 defense. Okay. But I would honestly still go Pedro Porro.
Perfect. Okay. I'll put in. If we want maximum upside here,
I guess so.
I'll put this guy in.
So.
Just to get 2 cleans.
Yeah. Perfect. Who do we want? Midfielders. These all look rubbish. Salah, I guess.
How about
I
you,
just filtered to players this week, and I'm like, I hate them all.
Yes, that's how I feel as well.
They're all rubbish.
That's both good and bad for free hit, right?
Well, true, yeah.
Yeah. Is it my turn or you, Thomas?
You, Jeppe.
Okay. If we're going Salah, let's go also with another Liverpool. I think I'll go Gakpo.
Sweet. Oof, now it gets tough. So we don't want any Everton. We don't want Rice. That's boring. What do we like? Because they're all bad, as Johnny said.
Well, this is the page I'm looking at. Going, oh.
Ugh.
I mean, chasing. Yeah, in Bemo.
I've thought of someone for my next pick, but I'll let you go first.
I think. Well, I'll probably just put Wilson in. Then how about you, Jenny?
Eze.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Then on top, because I kind of see a pattern here. Then on top, I will go Havertz.
Lovely.
Okay, and then we have to decide if we want to put in a forward or a mid, or a defender for that matter.
Disassi, please.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Or West Ham.
Yeah, I like that.
Why not?
I like that.
Then Van de Ven.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Fuck it, why not? There we are.
Either, yeah.
Are you going to win now?
Okay, that's a brutal free. That will either take you to heaven or to hell.
That was horrible. What have we done? Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good way to say that if you want to build up something like this with a lot of risk, like you stack a lot of defenders.
You can, you can do your own thing as well. Like once you got the principles, you could build your own one like this if you wanted to. If you didn't like the Spurs one, you just put another one in, and there's actually lots of viable different ones. Yeah. You could go triple. We've got no Man United here. What are we doing?
That's right.
Yeah.
I think that the question you asked first when we started this was who are the free hit essentials, and
yeah,
I don't think we've picked any of them.
No, maybe Salah.
Salah,
maybe,
yeah. I think Salah, Gabriel, Bruno, probably Virgil. It's probably not much more beyond that.
As well? Do you think Porro is essential?
Well,
I don't think he's essential. But...
Nah, I wouldn't. I don't know. I think it'll be a really, really good matchup for Porro and for Spurs in general. And Porro's stats the last 3 games are decent to good. I mean, his expected goal involvements are pretty decent. It's a very, very short sample size, of course. But I think Spurs will also go like they need to win this game. They really need to win this game, and I think
therefore they won't.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I don't know. For me, he's close to essential, but it's also partly because of the expected effective ownership for me with my rank. I expect I expect a lot of managers around me to own Porro. Yeah,
we've been asked to do a normal one. Apparently, they didn't like it.
We can do a normal one, and sure. Let's do.
Here you go. Done. This is it.
I was just trying to set up something that would look like a. Oh, why can I? You can just drop some names if you want in here.
I can't remember. Virgil,
right?
Yeah.
Should be there.
You can also sort the table by points if you wanted to. I think.
This has become like 1.5 hour of ad for Solio.
Well, thank you. I didn't pay these guys. They invited me.
No.
I promise.
Yeah. I think
if Cunha is fit.
What do we say? Other tools are available. Is that the line? Yeah, Cunha. I think if Cunha is ruled fit, or he's the right pick.
Yeah, then probably something like this. It's more like you go Szoboszlai or another Liverpool mid, probably for template free hit here.
That's the structure. Then you can change out Szoboszlai for a different Liverpool mid if you want to. You could change out Cunha for Mbomo. You could change either of them out for an Ndiaye or a Wilson or something like that if you wanted to. Again, you can swap a Solanke or a Bowen to a Watkins. But yeah, that's the kind of the structure most people are working with. You can swap Raya to a different keeper as well if you wanted whoever. But yeah, Porro, Gabriel, Virgil, Salah, Bruno, probably Rice. I don't think he's essential, but he's good. Rice and Porro are probably I'd say they're the best. They're probably the best picks in that bracket, but there are some that are kind of close that you could, if you wanted to. And then Solanke, Bowen, probably same, best 2. Easy.
Yeah, then you can argue if you want to put a defender in instead of Bowen if you don't believe in him. Like if you really like Mavropanos or
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or you want to stack something else, you get a Danso or
Danso.
whoever.
Yeah.
Personalize it.
This
I'm
seems
sure
like
people
to
will
be,
pick that, but
I think this free hit will be quite popular, yeah. Of course, depending on the Cunha news. As a final question, maybe also regarding free hit, we have our friend Eric ranked number 1. What would you like? We don't have him on the stream now, but we must assume he'll play free hit, of course, after his bench boost. What would you if you had to create a free hit for him? Would it be something like this? So try to envision your number 1 in FPL for the 6th game week in a row. Is this kind of the team you would put up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Close to at least.
yeah.
I think
Let's
what
see.
he should do is like try and get 3 or 4 different teams in defense. So just like he has quite a gap down to the ones behind him, right? And not all of them will be on a free hit. So putting out different defensive assets to just get like good average score there and not risk it all. And then
It does look like second down to like 11th are probably all going to free hit because
Are
they
they
were
all?
bench boosted this
Wow.
week and they all have it. Well, it's partly
Yeah.
because the guys who were in the top 10 who didn't do this strategy have now dropped out of the top
down.
10. So they're still ones
makes
to look
sense.
out for. So like Ian Foster's in 12th and he free hit this week. So then he's got wildcard, bench boost, triple captain left to play. So I don't know what he's going to do specifically, but he's now down to 12th, even though he's 5 points off 5th.
And we
Yeah.
we have isn't calm strategies 9, right?
He is. He's 10, number 10.
10. It's crazy.
What a manager.
Wow.
Yeah, what a manager.
That's good.
Yeah. Holy moly. Okay. But it's
Could have been
something.
you, Jeppe.
Well, it could. Well, I've just made some
Rub it in.
horrible decisions. I think I played too.
Go on.
I just think I played too aggressively too early. Yeah, there was a Gordon cap went okay. Yeah,
But then if it pays off, you probably don't say that, do you? So it's
no, sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, definitely this game week, which was a decision to cap Palmer was mainly with my because I'm an Arsenal fan. But I could have captained Haaland and still hope for him to blank, so it doesn't really like I could just have covered.
And
but,
I think
yeah.
him not turning up in the second game is pretty unfortunate. Like he might just have got another 2 points, but yeah, big swing on availability even. I think what I was going to say on the free hit here, what I might do is I might consider putting Thiago in over one of the 2 forwards there.
Yeah.
If I was Eric, I think he might do that. And yeah, you could also swap Raya out for another keeper so that you've got 4 defenders from different teams. I guess spread it out again.
Yeah. So
I don't know who I'd put in, but I don't know who else is going to be popular.
Hermansen or Ruffs?
Hermansen, yeah, maybe.
Him or Ruffs?
I mean, it seems like the boring and a very, very safe route, right? But it could very well also turn out to be the winning route because if some of the guys in the top 10 they go with a bit more Kovar of let's say 2 West Ham defenders and maybe 2 Spurs or something. I mean that could go terribly wrong. And even tripling up on Arsenal can go terribly wrong. So it could like this safe and what seems to be a boring path could also be the winning path easily.
It depends whether like if second to 6th all coordinate and they go, you go on Arsenal triple up, and you go on West Ham, and you then he's in a bit of trouble. But
Yeah.
Because the issue is like he has to fend all of them off. He needs none of them to get that big lucky one if they go for it. But then if you're like third or fourth, I think it is pretty difficult to go, I'm going to do a triple up on like a West Ham defense or something. It might be what gets you the win, but it's so hard to like do it in that position to, be confident that you're willing to risk it. I think we'll probably see a lot of guys in the top 10 with fairly similar safe free hits rather than the kind of balls to the wall. I'm going to try and catch Eric free hits, but we'll see. Because I think that's kind of what we tend to see in previous seasons is actually like even the guys who are trying to catch first don't like risk
they don't want to risk it.
Yeah, but
they should.
Apart from I think it was Ali FPL Guns who won it.
Yeah,
but he was first. And he was the one taking all the risks. And it was like, oh, Jesus Christ, are you all right? Is everything okay? It was like, you've got 20-point lead. You can cover off Isak, captain. And he's like, I'm going to go for Wilson. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. And it paid off. Obviously, Wilson outscored Isak. But it was like, wow. That is, I don't know. It worked for him. But yeah, I think he was doing all the attacking
I captained Wilson as well.
Place. I didn't, sadly. But yeah. Good luck to Eric. I hope he picks
Good luck to Eric.
The right free hit.
I think the guys that will take the risk will be the guys that's everything between 20 to 20 and below. I think we might see some crazy free hits, just going full throttle, and they could easily end up being in the absolute top. Because Thomas, can I ask you for a favor? Can you, or I don't know if you have it in Solio, but I'm curious to see the graph of West Ham's expected goals conceded throughout the season.
Throughout the season. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, that's not on our site.
Because I know you have some.
This one. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So the West Ham non-pen XG curve for the season. I mean, it's pretty small on the. Is that the one you want?
No, it was. Expected goals conceded. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So you can see, like from Gameweek 26 here, it's very pretty. If we do like this, they're like fourth in the Premier League, but it's also a very short sample, right? Like along with Crystal Palace, Brighton, and Brentford. So it probably speaks for itself that the sample is too short.
Yeah,
but they're only playing one game, so they're only playing a small sample, so it's fine.
That's the thing.
That's how it works.
I was just looking.
Yeah, there's something about Bayesian statistics here, right?
Yeah, that was the thing that Spaceman he talked about last time on the chat. The Bayesian statistics.
Bayesian statistics, yeah.
Bayesian.
So that's the thing I was talking about earlier about like having an assumption, and then as West Ham do better, you start to update that slowly. So the more games that West Ham are slightly better than your assumption, the more you start to go, okay, well maybe they are this good. So for one game, you're not going to update it very much. But after 3 or 4 games, you update it a bit more, and after 10, you're a bit more, and so on. But also, if they have like 5 amazing games, then you might update a little bit quicker because the amount that they've moved is bigger. So it's the like update speed is the thing people kind of talk about. And I think most people tend to think the model's update speed is too slow, and people are very reactive to the last game. But generally, over time, you're going to be more successful by updating a bit slower than you might think. So good signal on West Ham defense, but again, they're not suddenly expected to be that good forever. That would be big. So you go, okay, maybe I thought they were bad, and now I'm a bit less sure. They're probably a little bit better than that. rather than I now think they're top 4 defense in the league. They might be, but you need more data to be sure of that. That's kind of the thinking.
That makes total sense.
Agree.
That makes total
But
sense.
yes, I didn't mean to write a technical term and scare you off with some maths, but
It's good. It's always good to learn. It's always good to learn.
I could see you balking at us, being like, "Oh no, I've used the wrong word."
No, it's good. Okay, I think it's unless you guys have anything, I think it's time to end this record long stream. We're past
lovely.
2 hours mark, and we're ending as always with Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the screen. As Simon always say, he's temporarily uninjured, and that's true.
He is indeed.
He's temporarily uninjured, yeah. Johnny, FPL's Faithman, thank you for joining. What a pleasure.
Very, very welcome. Thank you for having me.
It was I had a great time. Great time. Thomas, as always, also thank you for joining. I hope we can do this sometimes again. I know that the other 2 guys were very, very sad that they missed this special featuring. So I hope we can get you back for another live stream.
Of course, yeah, anytime.
That would be lovely. Okay, guys, thank you, and thank you for everyone for watching, and like, subscribe, and what else? Leave a comment.
Comment about Thomas Souček.
Yeah, comment about Thomas Souček, and let us know if you put him in your team, but probably don't do it.
No, don't.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you. Let's. I'm gonna end this stream right here. Let's see.